Hi, and welcome to another edition of the Rice Report. I want to thank you for joining me in my office, your office here in Rockville, and wanted to update you on a number of things that I and the County Council are working on to make sure that we can provide you with a better Montgomery County. I wanted to start off in talking about Clarksburg, as we've made a number of different strides. Starting at the beginning of the year, we passed a master plan amendment that allowed for us to move forward with allowing a grocery store to open outside of Clarksburg Town Center. And that was well received by all Clarksburg residents. And now I'm happy to report that Clarksburg Town Center, that formerly was owned by Newland, has now been purchased by Elm Street Development. And I'm very happy to have had conversations with them about the future that we expect to see to go forward with Clarksburg Town Center. And I can tell you, I'm very excited because I know that while there were challenges that were associated with Newland and that continue to persist with Clarksburg, we are moving again on the right track to bringing Clarksburg back to fruition, to delivering to the residents everything that they need and deserve. And I will continue to work with them to make sure that road projects as well as infrastructure projects are there, to make sure that we have recreational activities that are available, as well as the standard infrastructure from fire stations to libraries, everything that any community would expect to have and have access to. So there are new things that are on the horizon for Clarksburg, and I look forward to working with the residents there to make sure that that comes to fruition. I also want to talk about Germantown. And while there's not a lot of problems with Germantown, there's a lot that's going on. We've got great development that continues to happen. Wegmans is indeed coming to Germantown and is on track. The developers there are preparing to start off with the parking garage and start construction. And we're very excited about that and look forward to seeing the multitude of shops and the jobs that come along with this great project. One of the other things I've heard about from some of the folks in Germantown relates to artificial turf fields. I know that there have been a number of sports organizations that have had challenges over these past few months where we've had a number of rainy days that have washed out games that kids haven't had access to. And many of those teams have had to then take their competitions to other counties and neighboring jurisdictions. And while we appreciate the camaraderie with those neighboring jurisdictions, we want to make sure that we here in Montgomery County are able to provide our children with the fields that they need to be able to play their games and participate in activities. And so I'm currently working with the Germantown Soccerplex at South Germantown Regional Park to make sure that we do have turf fields that are safe but also accessible for all of our residents so that we can encourage more of our children and young adults to get out and play. Now, as we approach the end of the year, we are embarking on another session of the Maryland General Assembly. And as a representative for the Maryland Association of Counties for the Montgomery County Council, I can tell you that we've had a number of conversations with our stakeholders from around the state about what is on the horizon for the Maryland General Assembly. And of course, there's a lot of talk about the impending budget deficit, which is approximated somewhere between $800 million to $1 billion, and also talking about the possibility of teacher pension shifts, as well as the possibility of tax increases, and the implications of any changes in the maintenance of effort law.
Today, we're going to get into talking about characters.
And I can tell you right now that I remain steadfast in my opposition to a shifting of teacher pensions. I think that the financial burden that this would place on a multitude of counties, including Montgomery County, it would be detrimental and cause draconian cuts. But in addition, I just don't think that it's the right kind of policy that our state needs to move forward in. We are one Maryland, and we understand that the impacts of this on other neighboring jurisdictions would actually be so grave that they wouldn't have any money at all to do anything regarding any other programs. And so while these cuts mean a lot to Montgomery County, it means a lot more to some of our other jurisdictions, and so we will continue to fight this. I did want to briefly talk about maintenance of effort. We've been working diligently with our school board and also with our brand new superintendent, Dr. Josh Starr. And we're trying to make sure that we come up with a resolution that makes sense, not only for Montgomery County, but for the rest of the state. And understanding that education is a priority, but not only is it a priority, but it's a key tenet of economic development for Montgomery County. We've got to make sure that we're protecting education, but at the same time also making sure that we can deliver on the services that are very important to all of our residents, especially our needy and most vulnerable. And so we have to find that fine balance, and we continue to remain committed to work with all of our folks from both the Board of Education as well as our multitude of other departments to make sure that we strike that key balance that will allow us to do all the things that we need to. Now, when we talk about economic development, I can't end this conversation without talking about a big box legislation bill that's been before the council. And there have been many heated discussions on both sides of the aisle. Let me rest assured to all of my folks in the business community that I am not anti-Walmart or anti-big box. I think that every one of those entities has a place, and we just need to find the right place for those particular types of businesses. In Germantown, we have a Walmart, we have a Kohl's, we have a Target, all in the Milestone Shopping Center, and other big box stores as well. And they work very well and have a great synergy with some of the small businesses. We want to make sure that the balance between making sure that we support these big box stores, but also ensuring that the community plays a part, not only in determining what's right for them, but also making sure that there's a great relationship, a great working relationship between the two is extremely important. And while we've been able to strike that balance in Germantown, I certainly understand that it's important for us to make sure that we do the same in other parts of the county. And so I remain supportive in the concept of encouraging these big box stores to work with the community. I also don't feel as though it's right for us to step in the way and say that something's not right for the community. The community and the district council member for that area and the elected representatives should be the ones that ultimately make that decision. And I stand ready to support whatever it is that they decide to do. So in essence, what I want to say is that for all my folks out there that are concerned about the county council stance on business development, we're all for it. We want to see businesses thrive and grow here in Montgomery County. We want to make sure that our small businesses do the same. And I think that there's a market and a niche for each and every one of them. And we have to do and make sure that we have the best policies that are out there that encourage all of them to be successful. As we near the Thanksgiving holiday, I wanted to make sure to remind people about giving back. The Montgomery County Council, in conjunction with Montgomery County government, just ended a campaign that tried to raise all different kinds of clothing and materials and goods for our wounded veterans. And we also embarked on a food drive for Manna Foods. And just recently, we actually celebrated Manna Foods' 28th year anniversary of giving back to the community. That the Montgomery County Council recognizes with great appreciation and gratitude to Manna Food Center for its 28 years of outstanding service in fighting hunger in Montgomery County, and may we continue to see Manna Food Center always contribute to this great mission. And it's so important what their mission is, but I want to remind you that it's not just important for us to remember people that need and are in need during this holiday season. They're actually in need 365 days a year, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And so I ask you to volunteer your time. Make sure that if you have clothes that you don't use anymore, that you donate them. Everything that you can do. Use this as a constant reminder, but remember that each and every day, there are families out there that don't have a meal to put on their tables and don't have clothes to put on their back. And everything that you can do to help us in county government to make sure that those folks are taken care of is appreciated. I want to again thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Rice Report. I encourage you to always contact my office. Let me know what's working and what's not. And I ask you to remember all of us and keep each other in prayers during this holiday season. Thank you so much, and take care. God bless.